Hey Blaze, this is Dan. It's great to see you guys and ladies. Actually, I can't see you, but it's good to talk to you a little bit. I know this is definitely hard for you guys and it's not easy and definitely isn't easy for me either, but I'm glad you just tuned in to B.L.A.Z.E tonight. Actually, if you really want to know what's going on right now is I am filming in the B.L.A.Z.E room. And it's Tuesday night, a little after 7, so this will be the same time, almost just one day off. And so it is the same time in here that we would normally do, but it's Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night. And I just want to bring some exciting news for you guys and ladies. Next week, and it's not April Fool's, it is April Fool's Day, April 1st, but next week, we are not doing a video thing. Next week, we're going to be online and we're going to do a Zoom meeting with all of you guys. So tune in. It's going to be 6:30, probably about 8 or so. And if you grab your mom's cell phone or her laptop and tune in to our Zoom meeting, we can see each other. It's going to be so awesome to see you guys and ladies, and I'm super excited for that next week. So 6:30 next Wednesday, I will get you the address and stuff to tune in, and we'll play a game, we'll have a message, we'll even break out in small groups and everything, so it's going to be pretty exciting. So we're going to do something a little different next week. So I'm excited about it. And if you do not get the address and link from me by Tuesday lunch, you can light up my phone or light up my email and I will make sure to get it to you. So, and also if you get it, spread it around to your friends and everyone else at B.L.A.Z.E so they make sure they have it too. So if you know someone didn't get it, give it to them. I'd be excited. So we're going to have our first Zoom meeting next Wednesday from 6:30 to probably about 8 o'clock. And we'll also do breakout groups. And so you'll be in your small groups and everything. So I'm getting all that together this week. So I'm excited to see that next week. So also, if you guys are still talk to your small group leader, see if you can meet different ways on Skype or Google Duo. You know, some groups are meeting, so we would love to get you plugged in tomorrow night a little bit and just meet with each other and see how each other's week is going and be able to pray with each other and everything like that. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is following God through a bad situation. All of us have been through a bad situation or are going through a bad situation. I mean, some of us here have been, and it's really weird not to see any of you guys here present while I'm filming, but, you know, social distancing and everything. But I know some of you guys already been through bad situations. A family breakup, a loss in a family member, a death in the family, stuff like that. Breakups are always hard to deal with too. So we all deal with bad situations. Sometimes we get ourselves in the bad situation, other times it just happens to us. So, you know, how do we deal with a bad situation? You know, and how do we follow God through this? You know, and that's so important for you guys and ladies to know how to follow God, how to stay connected to Him through bad situations. You know, I mean, God wants to hear if you're mad at Him, if you're upset with God allowed this to happen to you, He can take it. He's big enough. He created everything, and He can handle us being mad at Him. You know, but the important thing is, how do we follow God through bad situations? And there's one guy in the Bible that I want to take a look at tonight and dive in the scriptures right here with you for a little bit and see how he followed God even through a bad situation. It's Daniel. Daniel in the Old Testament, you know, all through from teenager years to until he died as an adult, he followed God through bad situations. One situation after the next, he had bad situations, but he still followed God. And that's so incredible. His faith is so encouraging to us because he followed God even though he lost so much. And there was points where it was so easy for Daniel to say, no, I'm just going to follow the crowd. I'm not going to follow God. But he kept being faithful to God. And God just did some amazing things in Daniel's life. So if you have spare time this week, man, just pick up the book of Daniel and read the book of Daniel. There's so many exciting stories. I'm going to be touching on just a few of them, and I'm doing an overview on the whole book of Daniel for you tonight. So in this faith, how he had this incredible faith, I just want to look at what are some elements he had. There's 5 of them that he had that helped him have this faith and follow God through his whole life. So before we dive into that, I want to make sure you know the backstory about Daniel. Daniel was a Jewish boy. He was an Israelite. He grew up in Judea, and he had family was Jewish and everything. And what happened was King Nebuchadnezzar came in to Israel and took over Israel with his army. And then after he took over Israel, he came back and took the best teenage boys. Not just the smartest, but also the most athletic, handsome, good-looking guys. All those teenage boys, they found them and he took them back to Babylon, the home capital of King Nebuchadnezzar, to teach them for 3 years. And so Daniel's one of these guys. He gets ripped apart from his family. He doesn't know if his family's still living. He gets sent to study all of King Nebuchadnezzar's things. So he's in a 3-year training program, and he's away from family. He do whatever he wants, but he chooses to follow God through all this. And that's incredible because, imagine you could do whatever you want and your parents aren't going to tell you not to. But Daniel owned his faith and said, man, I'm still going to follow God through this. And that's an incredible story for Daniel. And so what are the 5 elements that Daniel had that helped him follow God through his whole life? So the first one is he found a few good friends that were following God too. When he was there training with other guys, he found 3 other guys. We know them as their, not the Hebrew names, but we know them, they gave them new names when they were there. Daniel was actually called Belshazzar or something like that. So, but we know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and that was their given names by King Nebuchadnezzar. So these 3 guys, they were all Jewish. They all decided to still follow God too, like Daniel. And that's so cool. Look at the verse here, Daniel chapter 1, verse 12 and 13. This is Daniel speaking. It says, test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the young men who are eating the royal food, and treat your servants according to how you see. You know what? Here, Daniel and his friends, they go to the guard and say, man, we know eating the king's food is bad. It's against our religion because they worship and sacrifice it to idols. And Daniel's like, our God doesn't want us to do that. So what he does is he takes that he goes, hey, just test us for 10 days. Give us vegetables and water. I mean, that just sounds like a hard diet, But I know from dieting, you can't just look better than everyone else in 10 days. It takes a lot longer. And so Daniel's asking for a miracle. And the guy who's over them, the guard goes, well, 10 days, it's not going to really hurt them. If they look worse a little bit, hey, I can just give them the food. And so he agrees, and God does a miracle. And they look better than all the rest of the guys. So the guard takes away the meat that they're supposed to eat and gives them only vegetables and water after that. And it's just having those few good friends is so important, that you find those few good friends that are following God too. And it will encourage you and help you when you stumble and fall and pick you up. And it's just an amazing thing. I know some of you guys are trapped inside right now and you can't be with your friends. So it's so much harder to connect and to encourage each other. But man, text each other, encourage you, call each other, Skype with each other, FaceTime with each other, do stuff to connect with each other and encourage each other to follow God. It's so important for you guys to do. So that's one thing Daniel did. Second thing in the elements I see that Daniel had was he did the right thing even when it was hard to do. Daniel did the right thing even when it was hard. His friends did the right thing. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did the right thing even though it was hard. A lot of us know the story that King Nebuchadnezzar said, all right, I'm building this golden statue, and everyone has to bow down to this statue. And so when the instruments play, everyone's going to worship me, which is the golden statue. And if they don't, I'm going to throw them in the furnace, the fiery furnace. And this is where we pick it up in chapter 3, verse 11 and 12. It says, but whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown in the blazing furnace. But there were some Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, O king. They neither serve your gods nor worship the idol of gold that you have set up. These three guys knew what it was at cost, and they were like, we're still going to follow God. The historians think Daniel was probably serving somewhere else and back in Israel or something during this time, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were together, and they said, no, we're not going to bow. We're not. And it infuriated the king. It made him so mad. And it's just doing the right thing, even though it's hard, is important to do. It's not just one of those things like, hey, just do the right thing. Always be the goody two-shoe. No, it's what you believe and standing up for what you believe in. You know what's right. Even if you're going to be fun of, teased, or in their case, thrown in the furnace. Being honest and doing the right thing and standing up for what you believe in. It's taking your parents' faith or your faith and really living it out. You need to live out your faith. You need to do the right thing. And that's so important to see Daniel. That's how, as a teenager, he grew and he kept following God and kept the faith, even as a teenager, ripped away from his family and everyone else. He did the right thing. He did the hard things, and he did the right thing. And, who cares how you're labeled, but it's so important for you to follow God and do the right thing. Let's slow down here for a minute. In the middle of our video here, I just want to lighten it up a little bit. And I have a youth pastor challenge for you. So I want you to watch this video. Take a look. Hi guys and ladies. What I'm looking for is some trick shots you have. Whatever it can be a basketball, it could be ping pong ball, whatever you want to do for a trick shot. I need these videos in the next 2 weeks, and I will do a winner for middle school and high school. We'll have JoJo judging, and I'll splice all the videos you have together, and we'll just make one big movie out of it, and then JoJo will judge, and we'll let you know who is first, second, and third place winner. So get your trick shots in, and to kind of help you and really just motivate you a little bit, here's my trick shot. Ready? It's all good. Get me those videos. And JoJo wants to show you one of his trick shots. Yeah. Thank you. We're back. I'm super excited. Trick shots. You saw me doing a trick shot. You saw JoJo doing a trick shot. Send me your trick shots. Text it to me. You can send your video to me on my cell phone, or you can email it to me. You have those options for you. If you don't have my email, it's down below right here. It's driventoempower@gmail.com, or you can just text it, send your video to my phone, and I will put them all together. JoJo will decide. I'll make a video. You guys have 2 weeks from right now to get your video into me, or I'll give you 10 days. That sounds better. 10 days. So I can put them all together. So in 2 weeks, I'll show you guys the film and the footage of what you sent me. And then also JoJo will judge, and we'll announce the third, the second, and first place winners. So send me your trick shots. It doesn't have to be a basketball. It doesn't have to be a ping pong ball. It could be toilet paper. It could be whatever you want to do trick shot. So send us a video, because we'd love to see you on tape making your trick shots. You guys got it? Good. All right, get working. You got 10 days to send it to me. Thanks. All right, back to the message here. Number 3 is making good habits. It's so important for you guys to make good habits. It's not always the best timing. It's not always everything is right when you make the right habits. Sometimes it's for bad situations you make good habits. It's when you're in trouble you start going, all right, now I got to start making some good habits. Daniel, the same thing happened to him. In the first chapter of Daniel, verse 8, Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food or wine, but he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. Man, he resolved in his heart as a teenager, I'm not going to do what hurts God. I'm going to follow God. And that's so important. It's not during the great times that you need to follow God, but it is through the worst times too. You have to make it. You have to resolve yourself. It means, make a resolution and say, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to build some good habits. Even to me, I was thinking back years ago, listening to different leadership podcasts and different tapes and stuff. And one of them was about Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A, through the worst times, they had to decide, are they going to be closed on Sunday and only test and be open for 6 days a week and honor the Sabbath and be off Sunday for them as a business? And also, for the worst time of their career, the lowest point in their career, they made their vision and they made their purpose statement and to figure out what are they all about. And God just blessed them, and it's amazing now to see so many Chick-fil-A's and so many Christian owners through that, and Christians that work there, and it's incredible how much God blessed them. But at the same time, it was through their worst time in their business that they resolved in their hearts what are they all about. Same thing with Daniel here. He resolved in his heart. Another verse here in Daniel, it was in chapter 6, verse 10, it was just, Daniel heard about the decree that he was not supposed to pray to any god except the king. That's the only person he's supposed to pray to is the king. So Daniel heard it, knew it, he was in charge, he was one of the chief advisors, but he saw that and he had some good habits here. Look at what happens here in verse 10. It says, now Daniel learned that the decree has been published. He went home to his upstairs room where the window was open towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got on his knees and prayed and gave thanks to his God just as he's done before. Man, he created this habit of praying to God 3 times a day. No matter what the law said, he was following God. He made that good habit. And it's about a relationship. He had that relationship with God. And those habits form a deeper connection, a deeper relationship. So I want to encourage you guys to create that good habit. Spend that every morning with God, praying and reading His Word and putting it into your heart and into your minds. It's so important for you guys to create those good habits. And that's what Daniel did. He created that good habit. Not all the time good habits are easy to form, but man, Daniel did this 3 times a day as he normally does. Which leads me to my 4th thing, trusting God. Daniel trusted God when he got on his knees to pray because he knew he was breaking the king's law. And it was a silly law because the other advisors go, this is how we're going to get Daniel. Get him to disobey the king because it goes against his God and what he believes. And the advisors go run to the king and go, hey, everyone's doing it except your advisor Daniel. And the king was so sad because he had to throw Daniel in the lion's den. He tried to figure out all day how not to do this, a loophole just for Daniel because he liked Daniel that much. But he couldn't find a loophole, and he threw him in the lion's den. And what happens the next morning, the king rushes to the lion's den, and he calls out to Daniel. And listen to this verse in verse 23 of chapter 6 of Daniel. It says, the king was overjoyed and gave the order to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted up from the den, no wound was found on Daniel because he had trust in his God. God shut the mouths of the lion, where Daniel probably had an awesome sleep, laying on a lion or something like that. It's just really cool. It would be really neat to be there and see what happened. But God protected him, did another miracle in his life. Even though he was doing the hard things, but he did the right thing. And he trusted God. And that's what Daniel's about. All through his life, he trusts God. He follows God through hard situations. Which leads me to my last element. And you see this through the whole book of Daniel. When he's in trouble, when he's not in trouble, when he's esteemed, the king goes, everyone needs to serve Daniel, who can protect them from the lion's den. Everyone needs to serve this God. When everything's good or everything's bad. Daniel always put God first. It wasn't his desires first. It was God's desires first. He put God first in his life. All through his life. It was amazing to see. And it's amazing to see how God communicated to Daniel and talked to Daniel in dreams and visions and angels sent to him. All these different ways that God saved Daniel but also communicated to Daniel. Is Daniel purposed in his heart not to defile himself. He purposed in his heart to have this faith in God. And you can have that faith in God. And it starts right now. As teenagers, it starts. Not someday when you're an adult, but right now it starts. Are you putting God first? How do you know if you put God first? Do you think about God the most out of your time, out of the day? That's putting God first. It is putting God above everything else. Your family, your friends, your relationships, your friends, media, anything you think of. It's putting God first in your life. Is God first? Man, that's how you follow God in bad situations. That's how Daniel did it. That's how I'm encouraging you to do it too. And man, I challenge myself as much as you guys. Am I putting God first? And putting these elements to the test and trying to create those good habits for me too, and following God through every bad situation. Let's pray. God, I thank you for each of these teens that are listening right now. Help us to follow you. Help us to walk with you, and put these elements in our lives, God, and help us to resolve that, put you first in our lives, God, and help us to do the good things, even if they're hard to do, and help us to trust you, and help us to create those good habits in our lives, God. And just be with us this week and everything we have to do. Help us to honor you with everything we have. In Jesus' name, amen. Man, it is great. I can't see you, but it's great that you're watching this. I'm super excited for you. I'm praying for you guys and ladies. And I just love you guys. Have a great week. See you later. Bye.